Welcome to my channel, Relocate with Kaya. I'm Kaya. I provide online support for individuals, families, and employees moving abroad. I provide them with relocation, country specific resources. And on my channel, I talk about my own personal experience of moving from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to Johannesburg, South Africa, with my husband Rich and our daughter Nina. Today, I wanted to talk about a question that Rich and I get pretty much anytime we're out and about and we have interactions with people that realize we are not from South Africa. And usually, the next question is once they realize that we're not from here, is why are you here? People usually assume that we're here visiting or on vacation, and they are always so perplexed and surprised by the fact that we moved here voluntarily, not because of a job or anything like that, but because we wanted to be here. And that this question is posed to us regardless of, if we're in, if we're at a, like a supermarket, or if we're at an expensive restaurant. Like and we get it from pretty much everyone. Um, and they're always, taken aback that we chose to come here. And I think what I realize is that people have this idea of what America is, because the images and the information and the movies and entertainment, all the stuff we put out there definitely reflects a place that is not crime free, but there isn't too much crime, there isn't too much poverty. I don't think you can dispute the racism of America, but I don't think that people are fully aware of, the impact that racism has, particularly amongst Black people in America. So I'm always, so their idea of what America is very different from my own personal lived experience. And when I try to explain to them that, America definitely has its good qualities, and, good things about it, m- me personally, I wasn't necessarily living the American dream. And I kind of had to go outside of the country to seek that. And yeah, so I get why they think that America is so great because of everything that that they all the information that they receive through the media and like I said, the entertainment and news. And what I also realize is that the same thing is true of what Americans feel about Africa, the continent as a whole, um, but specifically um, South Africa. So prior to our move to South Africa, my information on Africa, the continent, was very limited. I'm embarrassed to say. And my only association with the continent was poverty, AIDS, I think, and poverty. And I definitely believe that it was intentional to keep people ignorant as to what was actually happening on the continent. So I understand how when images and media and news perpetuate a narrative of a particular place, that people, unless they're actively in pursuit of finding out, or they're actively interested in finding out the truth of a place, you're just kind of going to just believe what you see and kind of take it from there. But not until you actually travel and visit do you kind of get a full understanding, of what it actually is. And that was my experience. Like I didn't know anything about the continent, but I knew that South Africa, politically, their views aligned with ours, and I, oddly enough, didn't think that it was going to be too much of an issue with us moving here, being an interracial couple, considering the history, of the apartheid. So I thought, if nothing else, there's going to be some diversity. And to my surprise and delight. There is so much diversity in Johannesburg, and I think what I also have enjoyed and didn't expect is that it's not just white South Africans and black South Africans or South Africans and black South Africans, but it's literally a whole mix of people, which is so nice. And what I've also realized is that how much they interact and share the same space. A lot of times, particularly in Philadelphia, the city's very segregated, so you don't have the experience of really interacting with other nationalities and cultures, which I realize has been um, unfortunate because, just being able to intermingle with other people that don't look like you, it's, just being in different environments, like you really do learn and open your mind to, how other people live and what their culture is like. We went out to a restaurant just this past weekend, and it was I'm not sure if it was a Pakistani restaurant, but they we went there for dinner, and pretty much the entire restaurant was a caption or a could have been a commercial for South Africa and diversity. But I was just surprised by how many different nationalities were at the restaurant. It just felt so nice because people were just coexisting. Like there wasn't any sort of tension or, like it was just very, very, very nice. And I think I personally was surprised by how much different groups interact here because that definitely has not been my experience in the States. So that's kind of been a bonus of having not just, these two groups. It's a combination of a bunch of different people that live inter commingle. Like they may, they kind of, I think it's maybe segregated in the sense that they might not live in the same neighborhoods, but they all go to the same places and restaurants, and so they're all out in the world interacting, even if they choose, not to live in the same neighborhoods. And I definitely believe that that'll change as time goes on. But the considering where South Africa has been and where they are now, it's um, continue to be in awe because they've made so much progress since '94 as far as socially and how they live amongst each other and interact and how peaceful everything is, and there isn't this underlying tension necessarily, or that I've felt of racism. That this again is just my own personal experience and observation. So, so yeah, so I think because we were fed a story of the continent, just being famine and poverty and AIDS and all these things, I can see how people in South Africa would have this idea of what America is. So it definitely goes both ways. So what I usually tell people when they say, "Oh, I want to go there," I always say, "Go there." Like I want to stay there. I'm like, you might not want to stay there, but I definitely, recommend visiting, to have your own experience. But yeah, so that is just something that Rich and I are asked constantly. And every time I'm like, what do you mean? This place is beautiful and gorgeous and the people are so kind. And it's, I can just go on and on about how much I love being here and how much I love um, just existing here. So you know, when I talk to people that, have this idea of what America is, it's always, I understand it, but it's still like, you don't know how good you have it here as a South African and kind of having race taken off the table in, being in the majority. But it is kind of hard to explain that because, that has not been their experience. So yeah, so that I just wanted to share this little nugget because it's something that happens to us literally on a daily. We just had a conversation with a gentleman about moving here, and he was saying how much he wanted to go there. And then we talked about politics a little bit. And I'm always surprised about how much people know about American politics because, I don't think a lot of Americans are too familiar with politics outside of America. So I'm always impressed when people are, have questions about America and the political scene there. So I hope this was helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Have a wonderful day and thanks for watching.